This is one of the most iconic tanks in World of Tanks, and of course it is one of the most broken vehicles on World of Tanks PC, but does on the console version of the Object 279E, which is basically a premium version. You don't have to complete any missions to be able to get it, and you can actually earn it from the premium tech tree at tier 10. I say earn it, well, you basically have to buy it, and it has to be on sale for either free XP or actual just buying it with gold if it ever comes available. But the Object 279E is of course the tank that on PC is basically unpennable for the most part if you're playing it correctly and you're putting the hull armor up in the air slightly to increase the armor of this vehicle. And yeah, on console it is slightly different. The armor does not seem to work anywhere near as good as you would have it on PC. So that's the initial thing. But what other stats does this tank have? Well, it has 440 alpha damage, it has 258 pens, and that's on its standard rounds, and disgusting penetration on its premium, a 340, of course getting those heat rounds, and that is one of the key things of this tank, is that it has fantastic alpha damage, it has a good reload, it has okay damage per minute, and it has really nice armor, especially if people don't know to just load premium and go through the upper plate, which people can do if they've got anywhere about 300 pen on console, maybe slightly less actually, will be able to go through this tank. And of course if you're angling it's slightly easier. And then the side armor is paper, which is where you really want to catch a 279E if possible, but for the most part very difficult. It doesn't have a lower plate as you expect, and yeah, definitely a vehicle that is super good in game. But we ran it with a vert stabs, we ran it with advanced loader, and we also ran it with advanced optics, since I just wanted the extra view range to spot anyone that might be trying to sneak up on me, etc., or try and get a shot on us before we were firing. And we do have a gameplay to show to you, but there are some potential other builds that you could use. You could use improved ventilation potentially. I mean, it wouldn't be necessarily the most optimal. You also have the potential to use traction system to boost up the top speed to get into position quicker, find those positions where you can get hold down, and by hold down I just mean essentially where you can use the terrain to be able to push your hull up and then avoid being able to essentially be penned in the cupola. So it's kind of like the anti being hold down, the where you want to show your hull armor at a ridiculous angle to be able to bounce even more rounds than this thing already does, and hide those cupolas on the top of the vehicle, which are a weak point of the 279E. But we've talked quite a bit about the tank. I mean, it is a Soviet heavy tank, so I mean its armor usually works quite well, 2,400 hit points, and in general just a solid vehicle. 5 degrees of gun depression does let it down, which is why when you're trying to bounce around you want to aim up the slope, go up the slope, and then you're essentially when they fire you can then pull back down and you can deal a shot of damage. But yeah, let's have a look at the gameplay, since that's what you're here for, and we're going to see if this thing really stacks up. Should be a pretty quick video, and I'll let you know my conclusion as to the console version of the nuclear tank. So let's jump into it now. So this is it, we are on airfield, and this is going to showcase all aspects of the tank, and I feel like it was a good all-round replay to see both the armor working, the armor not working, the gun, the damage potential that you have with this vehicle, the carrying capacity that you have with this vehicle, and by that I mean just the simple way in which you can carry games a lot easier in this thing than you can some of the other vehicles in the game. So we're going to be taking an early position, pushing up to the heavy tank corner, where hopefully we can find some of the other heavy tanks on the enemy team and farm them up. Now, the key thing that you want to know with this vehicle is that, like we say, the side armor is not very good and you're going to get penned very easily. So you want to make sure that you find yourself in a nice position where you can avoid being hit from multiple angles, where you can slim down those opportunities. And so it does very well on these corridor maps where you can't really be able to get punished from the side. You just got to be very careful in those sorts of positions. But we're going to take a kind of typical position. We're going to go up into this location and hopefully be able to deal with some of the tanks that are going to be pushing in the middle. Now, there is a WZ-11114 who's being an absolute just, I don't even know, I mean, just happy players coming out in this game. So we're going to try and punish him. I don't even care if I take a hit. This guy is being so happy that we need to honestly send him back to the garage so he can pick a different tank and be just as happy in that one. And unfortunately, he's just YOLOing our medium and no one is punishing him. Like, genuinely, it's only me and the medium that are really punishing this guy. But unfortunately, he does take out our tank there, which is super annoying. I was really hoping he wouldn't get taken out since he did literally get YOLO'd by a tier 10, or not a tier 10 but the tier 9, but yeah, unfortunately he does get taken out. But we've got 1500 damage done in this game, and that WZ that we just hit there, the tank destroyer, he's going to play a role in this game that's going to be annoying. And that's because that tank has heat ammunition as its premium rounds, which essentially means that he can pen us quite easily. Now, it appears like he fired at our teammate there, and you can see he took out the CS63, which is a bit unfortunate, but at this point it's just a case of trying to see where and who we can dish out this damage, because you need to be pretty switched on with this vehicle to make it work 100%, because it doesn't have the best DPM, so you are relying on the fact that you're going to be able to be up close and personal and that there's a target to constantly hit in the game. Now, unfortunately for us, this guy just goes straight through the upper plate, which is a common feature on console. It is not difficult to pen the 279E, it is just simply a case of, do you have high penetration? If you do, it's an auto pen through the upper plate. If you don't have armor, then you basically have to go for the cupola, or you're not penning this vehicle, unless of course you find the side armor. But the enemy team have kind of pushed up, and this is a weird airfield game. I was definitely surprised in how this one played out. It's not your typical airfield game that I'm used to, and that means that we are going to have to deal with this side, as well as anyone that goes for our medium tank over in the west of the map. So if we can deal with this VK who's in the middle, along with the tank destroyer that's been a pain in the backside, then yeah, maybe we can come away with a win. And it's pretty close. I mean, it's nothing outrageous, but hopefully we can get a shot on this French heavy. Can we do it? We find the top of his vehicle, which with the 340 heat pen is just just so easy to be able to deal damage in. And here you go, he's given us the back of the turret and the back of his vehicle, and he is going to be sent back to the garage pretty quick, as I have a horrendous voice crack. I apologise, but with 3,200 damage done, you can see the tank is fairly good at being able to deal damage. Now, I push up to this location, trying to get a shot on this Centurion. Whether or not we can get it, we're going for that lower plate. We do hit it, which is lovely. Then we're going for it again. We want to make sure we're getting all of those OP tanks in the game, regardless of if the fact we're playing in an OP tank. But we're still here, we're just waiting, see what happens, and maybe get a bit more damage. We find the T100, easy damage. You probably won't see damage this easy within this game that often. And of course we're sat here waiting for the Turan, and then that's not good. The WZ sneaks up from behind the bushes and manages to fully aim on us and deal that shot of damage. So 2 shots taken from super high penetration rounds, and I would say we've been unlucky. I mean, we haven't been that unlucky. It's just annoying that it was the like high premium round penetration TD that is of course the same tier as us, that's been able to hit us and have high alpha as well. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But we've still got the C75 that we can farm up. We've done 5k in this thing. I mean, it's nothing outrageous. I mean, 5k in the 279E is yeah, I mean, it's decent, but it's nothing crazy. But you can see the reason why I wanted to show it is because I feel like this is a perfect example of like the potential conjoined with the fact that, you know, you also have some weak points, which is the side armor, which is the premium penetration that can pen this vehicle. You're seeing the E75 really having trouble to actually pen us. I'm trying to go for the track and damage, but I'm firing heat like an absolute idiot. I should have been firing AP there and we would have penned 100% of the time. I've now got a Centauro, which is of course the autoloader, so that's not good. I obviously started aiming at the WZ, but the Centauro then went in front of it, so I knew that he was going to fire, and that was easy. I'm there wiggling. Hopefully he doesn't finish us. He doesn't, but the Centauro does there. So you quickly lose your hit points as soon as you start exposing any of the side armor, as soon as you start exposing the rear, or just if you get surprised by multiple tanks at once. Yeah, the armor just, it's not good, and you start kind of feeling like the tank isn't particularly amazing, but at the same time it is very, very good in the game and is certainly one of the tanks that you would want to see on your team if you had a tier 10. But yeah, let me know what you think of the 279E on console. If you've played PC, does it stack up? I don't think it does, and in conclusion I think this tank is, yeah, pretty better than average, but still not overpowered, still probably not the most competitive heavy tanks. And in fact, if you want to see a competitive Soviet heavy tank, then this one on screen right now in the IS-4, this video is one of the best ones. So have a look at that one if you're interested, and I hope you did enjoy. Get ready for tomorrow's video, which looks at the brand new light tank at tier 9, the Shah MLE 75, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.